Right. All right. Let's get this party started. Um, First of all, let me just start by saying I'm really excited. I mean, I'm always excited about training. I'm really enjoying doing what I'm doing, but I'm a little extra excited about this lesson. And I want you to know, right, starting out that just preparing this lesson, just preparing to train and teach, it always helps me with where I'm at. So I always say it's progress, not perfection. So I did this exercise again, the statement of desire. And what I realized is I was at a different place now than when I first did this a few years ago. So again, like, step into your growth, invest in your growth, right? Because as you grow, things change and you start to have new levels of awareness. And if you get an opportunity, if you like to, do this, you like to, maybe take a lesson and practice teaching, we could do that as well. Lou and I've been talking about, doing that as a company as we continue to grow. So what I really like about this lesson, right? In Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich, I kind of titled this lesson today as desire plus habits equal results. Desire plus habits equal results. Many of you know my story. I share it often because at the end of the day, the results that I received with putting these things into practice have given me a lot of what I originally desired, right? When I wrote it out. So quick little story. In 2017 is when I really started getting more intentional about daily lead generation and prospecting, right? And so in 2017, my goal was to make $250,000. $250,000 was an area that allowed me to live the lifestyle that I wanted to live. And so the habit that I formed that year was 2 hours a day on some type of lead generation or prospect. And we know that there's many different types of lead generation. You could use, your database, cold calling, networking, social media. There's so many different things that you can do these days, right? Taking a past client to lunch, you name it, right? Zillow. But the important thing was it got on my schedule. Before all of this, right, I was the typical real estate agent. I lead gen, I make some calls, I do some things, I send some calendars, I'd get some business, the pipeline would get full, I'd be doing well. And then I got busy in the business and got away from doing the things that got me the business. With me? In 2017, that changed. In 2017, I put it on my schedule, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, to lead generate from 9 to 11. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, Tuesday and Thursday, 6 to 8. So 2 hours every day. Don't worry about it. I'm not telling you that's what you need to do, right? The important thing is that it got on my schedule. And I'll tell you, maybe a couple of times I did it every single day. But the vast majority of the time, if I did it 3 or 4 days, that was a good week. But here's what the important thing is. It became a habit. It became a habit. And the result that I got that year was this right here. This little award was for doing 104 transactions in that calendar year, a little over $20 million in volume. And when I looked at the result at the end of the year, I'd only set my goal at $250,000. When I got my 1099 that year, I had grossed $399,000. That was the result, right? So today is desire and habits equal results. What I also want to say about results is that, I don't take a lot of advice, quite frankly, from people that haven't had the kind of results that I'm looking for in my life, in my business. So who you learn from matters. So we were tasked at our last call with kind of going over the statement of desire, right? First week, we talked about the law of intentionality, and growth has to be intentional, right? Week 2, we talked about the law of awareness. You got to know yourself to grow yourself. And then the last time that we met, we talked about this book, which I recommended to everybody, Think and Grow Rich. There's a lot of different material in here, a lot of different perspectives if you talk to some different people, but there's a couple common themes that I really wanted to get out of this that I wanted to kind of focus on for for this exercise. This week, we're going to talk about results and why do we do what we do, right? Why do we do what we do? Because we want to get a result. You want to reach or attain something. It's the result that you're looking for. So in the chapter on desire here, there's 6 steps in that chapter that Napoleon Hill talks about that will bring you. In this case, he's talking about riches, certain amount of money, right? And in this, he talks about, first, you need to be definite as of the amount. Number 2, you got to determine exactly what you intend to give in return for the money. In this case, your services that you provide to your clients, right? Well, that's one way. Many of us have other businesses as well. So third, you want to establish a definite date when you intend to possess the money. Fourth, you got to create a definite plan for carrying out your desire and begin at once, whether you're ready or not, to put this plan into action. Number 5, you want to write out a clear, concise statement of the amount of money you intend to acquire, name the time limit for its acquisition, state what you intend to give in return for the money, and describe clearly the plan through which you intend to accumulate it. And then number 6, read your written statement aloud. When? Does anybody have this in front of them? When does he say to read it?
2 times a day.
2 times a day, once before retiring, at night, and once when you get up in the morning. As you read it, see and feel and believe yourself already in possession of the money. You can change money to anything, right? Why do we set goals again? Why do we have a desire, right? You have a desire in your heart for something. You want to achieve something. You want to get a result. Well, results are tied to our actions. Our results are tied to our actions. And so here's a question for you, especially for those that have done this exercise. What are the action steps that you need to take to achieve the results that you desire? I'll say that again. What are the action steps you need to take to achieve the results that you desire? The first thing you have to do is take the time to think about what you desire and why. Here's a little secret, guys. Most people, I think I've seen a statistic, 90% of people don't take time, set aside time to think about what they want and why they want it. Many of you that are close to me, Lou, Lori, Mike, Marcus, Morgan, Hannah, everybody that sees me on a regular basis, they'll all tell you one of the questions I ask them all the time is, what do you want? What do you want? Because when you know what you want, now you can develop a clearer, it gives you clarity, right? We talked about this in business building in action. When you get your why in sight, you get your priorities right. Can I ask anybody did anyone, we don't have to share the exercise, but can anybody tell me that they actually did the exercise? Did anybody take the time to do this exercise? It's okay if you didn't. Lori, Dawn, I know you said you did.
Yes, I did. And yeah, I did. And part of that was actually for me with doing that exercise was also just getting set right with my mindset. So I actually also I spent Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday doing Unleash the Power Within with Tony Robbins. So that was what I was doing to get myself with my mind right for moving forward.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dawn. And
Mhm.
there's something to be said about those that take the time to kind of think intentionally and do it daily. This is a discipline that I've established over, I'd say, the last probably since 2015. Not really knowing I was intentionally doing it. I went through a life group at church and we practice a daily thing called a quiet time. And that was in 2015. So I've established this time every day, and it started out as 15 minutes and it's grown to an hour. And I'll tell you that that's the most important hour of my day. It's how I get in alignment with what I want to do for my day and how I can clearly stay more focused on what I need to be doing, avoid the distractions so that I can achieve the results that I'm looking to get. Why do you think Napoleon Hill emphasized the importance of step 6 in his method to achieving your heart's desire? He emphasized that you know, really on step 6 here, read your written statement aloud twice daily, once before retiring and once when you get up in the morning. Why do you think, what do you think is significant about that?
You're keeping
When you
it.
hear yourself say it, then you believe yourself.
Lou?
So I think, oh, go ahead, Lou. I'm sorry.
Well, to Mary's point, I mean, you're keeping it top of mind. You're looking at it every day. You're saying it every day. The more you say something, the more you say something, the more you become it. The more you believe it about yourself, the more you believe you can achieve it.
Yeah.
Keep it top of mind.
Yep, absolutely. Laura?
Yeah, I think it gets ingrained in your head like a song. Like if you think about any song, you can remember when you're 10 years old, you can remember the lyrics to a song. You get this in your mind. I think that it will just create its own pathway to welcoming what you want and remembering.
Absolutely. So I've learned over the last couple of years about the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. They talk about it in this book a lot. Our subconscious mind is where our habits lie, right? So when you leave the office and you're driving home, you got a lot of things on your mind. You pull up in your driveway, you don't even remember how you got there, right? You don't remember the actual ride because you automatically know you've done it so many times, you're on autopilot, right? I believe that's one of the secrets of this book. It's one of the simplest things, but I think we miss it. I know I did a lot because I didn't see the value in it.
GPS.
What's that?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't realize I was off. I said it's your GPS.
It is your GPS. Absolutely. Thank you. Right. So in my business building and action training, one lesson that we talk about is on priority management. Priority management. And we know that our success is tied to our daily agenda, right? You're a business owner. When you when you worked for a company, most of us may have had a job at some point, right? You had a 9 to 5 or an 8 to 4 or an 11 to 7, right? You automatically knew what you had to do. You went in there, but now you're a business owner. And being a business owner is a little bit tougher to manage our priorities. We can't manage time. We all get the same amount of it, but we can manage or learn to manage our priorities. And we talk about in business building and action, the Pareto principle or the 80-20 rule. How many have heard of the 80-20 rule, right? That says that what we focus on, if we focus on 80%, if we focus 80% of our time on the top 2 most important tasks, or 20% of our priority list, it will give us 80% of our desired results. So what are the top 2 things that you need to be focused on? What are the top 2 things that you need to focus on that are going to give you that 80% return? It could be different for some of us, but we do know when you're in business, any business, prospecting, lead generating would have to be one of the top 2, right? How we get business. If we don't get business, we're not in business. So you have to focus on what you'd like to do as far as that lead generation goes. And you have to also make sure that you set an appointment with yourself to do it. I don't care what type of lead gen it is, but if you put it on your calendar and you treat that like $1 million listing appointment, and you get in the habit of doing that. Remember, this is your business. If you can get good at putting some type of prospecting on your schedule every day, it doesn't have to be sitting behind a desk making cold calls. Get creative. Nowadays, you can do, I used to talk about, I'm a walking lead generator. I go to the gym, I'm lead generating. I go to the bank, I'm lead generating. I'm talking to people everywhere I go all the time throughout a day with at least 10 cards in my pocket, and I don't go home until those 10 cards are out of my pocket. That's just one thing that I would do every day, right? So it became what I do. You are in business to sell real estate, many of them. So if you could get really good at focusing in on putting that and making it a habit, I think you'll get the results that you're looking for. Let's talk about habits for a little bit. Our success is tied to those habits. And a book, if you haven't, I've recommended it several times. It kind of changed my life 2 years ago as it pertains to exercise, right? Atomic Habits. It talks about taking small habits, micro habits first, right? So instead of saying, I'm going to go to the gym and work out every day for an hour when the new year starts. I did that every year. And by the second Monday, guess what? That was gone. I was, that wasn't realistic. After I read that book, I set a habit, a new goal for myself, that I was going to go to the gym, even if I just had to drive there and didn't exercise. I'm going to go to the gym 5 days a week, and I'm just going to go. I'll see what happens when I get there. So I started to go to the gym 2 years ago, and every day I'd walk on the treadmill, maybe 15 minutes, and it turned into 30 minutes. And I would go, and I'd go every day. Most weeks I'd get 4 or 5 days in every week. But I started small. And 2 years, 3 years later, it's on my calendar every morning, 6 o'clock. It's on my calendar to go to the gym. I probably make it 90% of the time. 90% is pretty good, a pretty good result for me for what I want to achieve, right? I want to keep healthy, mind, body, spirit. So that worked for me. The important thing is that you take the time to think about your goals and what are the habits that you need to develop to achieve those goals. Another lesson we talk about in business building and action is the law of consistency. This is all tied to our daily agenda, again, guys, what we do every single day. So here's a quick example. If you want to sell 30 houses this year, or say you want to do 10 million in volume, so you can make 100 grand, 200 grand, I don't know, whatever your number is, so that you can take your family on that vacation. You can buy that vacation home. Buy that car that you've always wanted. Pay for your kids' college. I don't know, but you do. And when you take the time to think about that and then write those things down, that gives you more motivation to do things that you need to do. What are the healthy habits that you need to put in your daily agenda? Your daily agenda to get you the results that you desire. We already know, right, that 5 million in volume nets you after expenses, 5 million in sales volume nets you about 100 grand. 5 million nets you about 100 grand. We also know that our average sale price is 350. Not everybody's, right? But in Collegeville area and where 350's average sale price, that's 14 houses. That's one and less than 1.5 in a month. I want you to see this because it's really this simple. It's really this simple. The hard part is not getting distracted. The hard part is staying consistent with your daily agenda, making that appointment with yourself to, hey, I'm going to meet with another agent we're going to do lead gen together for 2 hours, or we're going to figure out other ways that how can we bring in more business? I don't know what it is for you. I'll tell you what it was for me. My database. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'm making calls. I'm sending thank you notes. I'm sending calendars. I'm taking great clients that refer me business to lunch. That's part of my lead genning. Mike does a great job of that. Marcus is starting. Those guys are meeting with past clients now, asking for the business. Put that on your schedule. That's not a hard thing to do. I'm taking a client 1 day a week. I'm going to take one of my clients that's giving me business out. That's on my schedule. That's a part of the lead generation. That's what I do. I don't care who you are. If you spend 2 hours a day intentionally prospecting for business, I guarantee you, I don't care who you are. If you do this every single day for 2 hours, 100 grand is not a problem. That's easy. That's easy. You're talking 2 hours a day, you're probably looking more like 150, 200 if you just get started now. But over time, I'm 22 years in the business. I've built a database. I've built a following that's not only feeding me, it started to feed my family, right? Because what we've grown, now we just continue to feed that, stay in touch, our sphere of influence. And, over time, this law of consistency compounds. It's on my schedule. It's a habit. And I'm getting the results that my heart desires. Like I said, our habits lie in our subconscious, and the more we do something over and over, it becomes a habit. Think about that for a quick second. This is good. This is good and bad, right? Take a look at what you do every day. What are some of these habits that you have right now? And are they healthy habits? Or are they not so healthy habits? Are the things that you have that you do in your life every single day, are they getting you closer to your heart's desire, your dreams and goals? It's okay to take a look, you can't change anything until you first become aware what needs to be changed. And that's where I think a lot of us kind of, I don't want to take the time to sit down and really kind of look at this. That's where it all starts. Taking the time, sit down and look at, what do I want? What do I desire? Everything that we're talking about starts with desire. Mike, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, I was just going to talk about that subconscious thing, right? And it's so true, because like you said about the gym, right? And I was the same way. I was kind of I was wishy-washy for years. After it was such a part of my life was embracing a healthy body and mind behind it. And late last year, I put on we're making our term business building. I make my goals and all this, and I'm like, what, part of that is going to have to be, if I want to do, I am more confident in my lead generation when I'm more confident in myself. How do I get more confident in myself? By being a healthy individual in everything that I do. Okay, so how do I become the healthiest I can be? You know what, I'm going to stop this like 2Z, 3Z times a week, and if I feel up to it working out, right? And I was like, I'm going to do five workouts a week. And there's a great, if you ever seen like on Reels or whatever, Kobe Bryant, he's on a podcast and he says, that summer I signed a contract with myself that I was not going to break. The deal was made, and I was not going to go back on that plan that I set out for myself. And I've kind of done something similar with that and made like the 5-day-a-week commitment, right? And by month 2, month 3, it's not a chore to do it anymore. I don't get up and I'm not like, oh, I got to go do this. It's what I do because it's in my subconscious now that like, this is my routine when I wake up every morning. And I don't even think about it. I do that. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
like you said, you talked about a couple of weeks ago, the driving thing. And we don't have to think about, we're driving home from 35, 45 minutes away. I'm not thinking about the directions. You just kind of end up there. I don't think about that anymore just because I've done it now repeatedly for X amount of time. And it is just, so
Yeah.
that subconscious thing is very real.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And, thank you for sharing that, because it's so true, right? It's when you discover something, right? And I've always been a kind of ambitious person. When you discover good things, secrets, how you think, how you can help, how you can get better, you want to share those things, right? And I see a lot of us, especially now that being in real estate all this time, do the same thing, right? We always get busy. Anybody that's been in real estate for a long period of time will tell you, you get busy, then you get busy doing the business. And then, you know what? Things get slow again because you didn't stay with the things that got you to business in the first place. So when you put this in your subconscious, this is who I am. I'm a person that prospects for business 2 hours a day, right? This is who I am. Craig Rochelle has an awesome leadership podcast. He just wrote a book called The Power to Change. And in one of the chapters, he says, who before do? Who before do? Who do I want to be? Right? You got to know who you want to be before you can put the things in place and know what you got to do. Right? So as we close out here, because I want to kind of open up the end of this to kind of talk about this and get some, any questions that you have, how I could potentially help you think through some things. But as we wrap up, I just want to kind of close with a few things, some questions. Do you know what you want? Do you know what you want? Do you have written goals down? Do you have your goals written down? You guys know that, since we opened, pretty much, I've been talking about goals. Every year we do business planning. Every year we do business planning and action, business building. because it's in the repetition that we do these things that I did them for so many years without a lot of the results, but I understand now the repetition, right? So putting these things into practice will give you the results. And you got to start with knowing what you want. How much money do you want? How much money do you need to make? Write it down, keep it in front of you. I don't know any successful business owner. I know a lot of business owners, but I don't know any successful business owners that don't have goals. They don't have benchmarks that they're trying to reach. We're in business for a reason. We're not in business we're in business to make a living, to make money, right? So here's what I want you to do. If no matter where you're at on this journey, if you've been with us for a while and you've written down goals and you got away from them, don't matter. If you've written down your goals and you're doing well, good, it doesn't matter. Congratulations. What I want you to do, what I'm going to encourage you to do for yourself, is set aside 1 hour to think about 3 to 5 areas of your life you'd like to make a goal. Three to 5 areas you'd like to make a goal. One of them must be financial. One of them got to be financial. We're business owners here. You know, we have, it's all great to have other goals, but you're in business and you need to have a financial goal for a reason. I need to pay my bills. I need to send my kids to college. I need to, I want to save for vacation. Be specific, write it down and keep it where you can see it, and get clear on what you desire. Get clear on what you desire. When you know what you want, it becomes clearer what you need to do to get it. Remember, our success is tied to our daily agenda and our habits. What does your daily agenda look like right now? Do you keep a schedule? If you don't, that's okay. It doesn't just happen, right? You have to work at this. We intend to have a schedule all the time. Lou and I and Lori, you talk about it. Our schedules have changed so much since we opened the company. It's hard to keep a schedule, right? But when your primary job is real estate, you have to keep a schedule, and it has to have habits on there that are going to help you reach those financial goals. It's a must. It's a must. And I would also argue, I don't care what the market is doing. Those that develop these healthy habits will do well in any market, because this is a habit. Right now, even when business was slow, we still had some leads coming in. Hey, it wasn't as great as it was last year, but guess what? There's always stuff coming in, and when it slows down, guess what? You got to adjust and you got to shift and you got to change maybe how you spend it. You have to change some things. That's what business owners do. Do you have healthy habits? Habits that will bring you what you desire in your life and in your business. The last thing I'll say, your daily agenda should align with your goals. Your daily agenda should align with your goals. So when I'm looking at my day, right, are these activities on my day, my appointments, are they lining up with what I said I want to achieve? If you want to do $200,000, you want to sell 30 houses, do you have prospecting on your agenda every day? If you do, it's a lot more likely that you're gonna achieve that. When I look at my schedule right now, my schedule aligns with the things I value most, which are the areas I set goals in. I've shared this with you guys. I'll share it real quick as we close. I set goals in spiritual. Every morning, first thing I do is my quiet time. relational. I'm intentional about spending time with the people that I love. It's on my calendar. My business. It's the majority of my day. I believe in harmony, not balance. You got no such thing as balance in the life of an entrepreneur. You got to learn how to have harmony, right? My health, wellness, and my finances. Those are the 5 key areas. If you look at my schedule, everything I do is in line with me trying to get the results that I desire. And there's nothing special about me. I just learned this over time. And the better I got at it, the better my results got. And guess what? As you grow and as you start to see more and you start to have better results, you're going to want and see more and better as well. So desire plus habits equal your results. So I'm going to open up for some Q&A. I hope you guys took a lot of notes here today. I think they're, when I look back at preparing this, I put probably about a good 10 hours into thinking through this, reading through this book and trying to highlight things that I have implemented, what I have done that actually are giving me good results. And I tried to put it in and condense it in so that you guys would have a roadmap and a blueprint of how to get the results that you desire in your heart. So the call is open for any questions, ahas, takeaways, and we got about 20 minutes. Come on, I know you guys got some questions.
I don't have a question, just a comment, really about the habits. The habits, the desire obviously is very important in terms of what we want and where we go. And to Mike's point, he asked me the question all the time, what do you want? What do you want? It's just in my brain every day. What do I want? What do I want? And thinking about that is critical to these steps, right? But even no matter what it is that you want, if it's something big or if it's something small, whatever it is, the habit piece is the biggest piece of this is for me, because I have habits in my life that are good habits that get me to give me the results I would like to get. But I also have habits in my life that are, I would call bad habits. Not bad habits in the sense that they take me down a bad pathway, but they're habits that don't necessarily do anything to better me, right? And those are the ones that I find are some of the difficultest to break, because they're not having a negative impact on me necessarily, but it's something additionally that I'm doing that's taking away from, me implementing new habits that are going to better me. It's those habits that just do nothing for me, that almost are time wasters more than anything else. That's for me.
And Lou, that's a great awareness, really, right? Because if you don't stop to think about what habits are not really serving me, right? If you don't even take the time, then you don't know, so you're just going to keep doing them, right? So I would only add that if it's something that's not serving you, it is a negative, because you're only going in a positive way or a negative way. That the consequence of the negative may not be destructive,
right?
But it still isn't getting you closer, right? So what I've learned is that what I really desire is to make a significant impact in my world. That's what it all boils down to. And I didn't know all of that until I started really stepping into intentional growth.
Mm-hmm.
So I know now that I can do certain things that will help me to make a greater impact, to make a better difference in all of our agents' lives, helping others become the best versions of themselves. To me, that's what this journey has become, right? That's what my desire has become.
Yeah.
And only by intentionally growing, reading, learning that I've come up with that. And I joke all the time, earners are learners, right? Earners are learners. I don't focus on the number so much anymore in terms of financial. But I will tell you, as I work towards achieving those goals, financially, you look back and it's like, wow, like that's getting better as well.
Yeah, I'll give you the example for me. One of the examples for me simply is at 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, right? Before I'm getting ready to retire, if I'm sitting there for 35 minutes or 40 minutes scrolling through social media, right? That's just a habit that is not serving me in any way. Where if I could remove that and replace it with taking 30 minutes before retiring and picking up the book that's been sitting on my nightstand for the last year that hasn't been read, or digging in or getting into another quiet time, right? So those are the things that I recognize that I tend to waste some time doing that are habits that aren't getting me where I need to be.
Lou, thank you for giving me an example. I wanted to ask if we could put an example behind it, because when we talk in vagueness or just kind of put things out there, like I might be doing things that might not be benefiting me, like I think there's a real value to speaking what it is. I wanted to just share one of mine that I was going through, like, where is my day being used? Like, where's my day being used and wasting time? And this might sound silly, but I wanted to share it. I spend too much time figuring out what I'm going to wear in the morning. And I don't know if anybody else does this, but I decided to put a micro habit in place and say, I'm going to put my clothes out the night before. And I haven't mastered this habit yet, but I'm on the pathway to doing it, because I've decided, and now here it is. I'm just going to get up and get dressed. And I'll not only spend 20 minutes with, okay, now I like these pants, I don't like this shirt. Now I'm just throwing it all over my closet because I'm not hanging them back up either. And then at night or the next day, now I got 20 minutes more work to do to pick up all the pieces. And I said, this is not taking me in the right direction. It's wasting now, not just 20 minutes in the morning, it's wasting 10 more minutes at night. So I just want to be real and be honest about, like, let's not underemphasize what the power of that small thing, when you identify it, where is it that you want to change? So I just wanted to share that. That's something I'm working on. So thanks for sharing with yours too, Lou.
That seems very simple, but we all have the same 24 hours in a day. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. One of the things that I've learned in personal growth is to really start to get more intentional about how I spend it.
It was having me show up at the office at 9:15 instead of 8:45, like my goal was,
Right? Because if you're scheduled to go in the office at 9 and you're there at 9, you're late anyway.
Right. So I want to be there 8:45, like, right. Do you know what I mean? Like, to start, instead of getting there at 9:15, now I'm not starting till 9:30. And that's a big difference. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. So thank you for that.
Questions? Anything I can answer for anybody? Anybody struggling with any of this? Struggling just to get started? Now's the time to ask your questions.
Yeah. I'd like to hear a lot more too.
Then, like, I don't have a question, but I'll just mention, like, the habits. Getting back in a habit is so hard for me right now. I know it's crucial, right? It's just something I was in good habits, and of course life happens, and getting back in that habit is such a struggle for some reason. And when I don't follow that habit, then I feel like I like fail at it. So you have all these things that give you that negative, like the thinking, right? The thinking gets in your brain. It's like, okay, then my I guess desire to get back into that habit is hard because I always think, oh, you're not going to stick with it. You don't do it. What's wrong with you? So just to be upfront, like I want to get back into my habits again, and it's been rough.
Yeah. So thank you so much for sharing, Megan. And I will say that I've been there. I've been there, and life, like you said, life does happen. And you get on a good roll and things are going good, and then something unexpected happens, right? You name it, tragedy, something that just kind of takes us off of our flow. And then it's very, very difficult to start over again. Here's one thing that has worked for me, and it's not trying to, sell anybody anything right now. But the difference for me started in 2017 when I was seeking a coach. Because anybody that's in the church world, or you've heard the saying, the idle mind is the devil's workshop. Anybody ever heard that? Idle mind or idle time is the devil's workshop. So when you get away, we talk about, staying away from the fire. When we get away from community, from accountability, we're a little weaker, right? That's where we can tend to allow something to get in our mind. But when I started having to meet with my coach on a weekly basis, and I'd have those stinking thinkings, that hour, that half an hour started to help me realize that was just not, that those kinds of thinking wasn't serving me and was leaving me stuck. It was leaving me stuck. And I'll say it, probably moving forward, getting a coach, being in an accountability group is one of the best things that you could do if you want to, continue to get breakthroughs and get out of those habits. Because everything happens in the mind, guys. Everything happens, like we all are, our lives are moving in the direction of what we think about the most. So you got to be able to have things in place, people in place that are helping you get through that. And mine was my coach or my life group at church. It's about being accountable and being in community. You can't do this alone. Can't do this alone. Being a business owner, you can't do this alone, right? We opened up this company, and it's grown tremendously, but it's the team that gets it done. We meet regularly, we communicate, we share. We're not just doing business together, we're sharing kind of life together as well, right? So if you're in a place of getting stuck, reach out. I would love to help you with that so you can break through.
Also, can I say just one more thing? Like when Megan was saying about, when you stay away, now you feel like, well, I can't come back in now to the class. You know what I mean? I haven't really done the work. Don't believe that. That's just stinking thinking.
Exactly.
Get back into the class immediately. Get back into the sessions immediately, because that cures that thinking just like that. Like, don't ever feel like, since I missed 1 or 2 or 3 or 10, it doesn't matter. Come right back in immediately. Always, everybody is welcome to come back in.
Yeah, don't
Immediately.
believe the lie.
I think
Don't.
Believe the lie. Go ahead, Sean.
I was just gonna say, I think the biggest thing for me is the harmony, not looking for that balance, but looking for the harmony. But I agree with Lou. Sometimes I get the scrolling, and I agree with Megan. Sometimes I have the stinking thinking, but I do what Laurie said. I just go and jump right in. And when I joined the company, I said, I don't care what happens, I'm just going to immerse myself in it so that I can, really grow and learn and do whatever I had to do. Because usually, you know, I'll do something, but my personality sometimes is be like, oh, this is too much. And I'll recoil and just sit back and kind of watch. But I just threw myself in, and that's, you know, whatever approach I take is just like just throw myself in there and listen and learn and do.
Yeah, yeah, that's good stuff right there. You got to do, right? You got to take the action. Gotta take the action steps. Who else? Any other questions? Got 5 more minutes. If nobody has any other questions, I'm gonna give you back your 5 minutes and you can spend that doing something that you like to do. Maybe writing down some goals. Anybody have
Yeah, maybe we should.
no more questions?
Nope, no question. I just want to say that I decided that this year I'm really going to work on being intentional and consistent. So I decided that I'm going to focus on like 3 neighborhoods and just get them, like nail them with a something every quarter. So I've been doing that, and I did get, calls from every single neighbor, all those 3 neighborhoods. I got 1 call from each. And one is price range like 5 to like 7 to 800,000. And these people only just bought it like a year and a half ago. So there were times where I would not even like send a letter to like somebody that just recently sold, just assuming that, they're not going to sell right now. Anyway, and these people only sold like a year and a half ago, and their house is worth over 600,000. And they're looking for houses around 500,000. So it's over $1 million, right there. There's nothing for sale in the neighborhood that there is the top of their list. So like I'm sending a letter to that neighborhood, just putting feelers out. If anybody in that neighborhood is thinking of selling, have your agent give me a call or call me, personally yourself, if they're not working or have an agent in mind. So that's over 100 homes that I'm about to send letters out to. And then to quickly do labels, you could do it through the public records. And there were times I would get hung up on, because public records can like make the names like, or whatever, it looks a little weird, like it's like wrong in public records, or it's a little funky. And I would get kind of like hung up on that because I'm a perfectionist in a lot of ways. And I just had to learn to like, just stick the label on and get it in the mail. Like who cares? Like it is what it is. So don't get hung up on like, don't hung up on little stupid things like that. Like I just realized that my mindset is definitely my own worst enemy sometimes. So you just have to just like you just have to go for it. And the intentionality and the consistency is already like, it's already paying off for me in a big way. So that's it.
I
Mary,
love
that's
it. I
wonderful.
love it.
Oh my
I
God.
love it. That's awesome. Really.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. That's
Yeah,
that's
hard work is paying off. It's not fun stuffing labels, but or stuffing envelopes, but while I'm stuffing them, I'm trying to like do something more intentional too. Like I'll listen to a podcast. So it's like, at least I'm learning something as I'm mindlessly stuffing an envelope and putting a stamp on it and whatnot. So that's all
That's
I got.
awesome.
let me just close out with 2 key points of what Mary just said, right? That's lead generation. So if you have on your schedule 2 hours of lead genning, right? Stuffing envelopes and putting them in the mail, that's part of your lead generation. That's farming a place, right? The other thing is, while you're doing those things, what you're listening to. Megan, if you're still here, listen, what we're putting in, right? What you put in is what comes out. So you can't have positive and negative in the same space. While you're stuffing them, listening to a positive motivational podcast, that's knocking out 2 things at the same time. You're working on your thinking and your farming. Great job, Mary.
Yeah.
Work.
Good stuff.
All right, everybody. Thank you for spending an hour with me and investing 1 hour in yourself on Tuesday's training. Have a great day.
See, we can all say we invested an hour in ourselves already.
There you go.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye,
Have a good one,
everyone.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thanks so
Thanks,
much,
Mike.
Michael.
Thank you.
Bye.